If you were unsure about how you felt about Kamala Harris and the stance that she would take on the genocide in Gaza, I really need you to listen to this statement being read in full because it makes clear, with zero room for ambiguity, where she stands. Statement from Vice President Kamala Harris today. Yesterday at Union Station in Washington, D.C., we saw despicable acts by unpatriotic protesters and dangerous hate-fueled rhetoric. Lies and smears on the American people. I was at that protest yesterday in D.C. What was being screamed, what was being chanted was free Palestine, stop the genocide, arrest Netanyahu. That's what it was. How is that unpatriotic? How is that hate-filled? Do you understand the gaslighting here? The gaslighting and the throwing under the bus of her own citizens in order to defend a foreign war criminal. Because she's saying that it's hate-fueled and unpatriotic to criticize a genocidal monster who has overseen the slaughter of over 180,000 innocent Palestinians and then walks his ass into our Congress and lies for an hour straight. Oh, no, but it was not enough for him to smear and lie on the protesters. She had to join in. Also, understand the actual dangerous game that they're playing with saying things like that. It is our First Amendment right to protest. It is not my obligation to stand for the genocidal Israeli regime. And yet, when you say things like unpatriotic and dangerous hate-fueled rhetoric, you are setting it up that way because you want to be able to marginalize, criminalize, and to make it unacceptable to ever criticize this foreign government's actions. I condemn any individuals associated with the brutal terrorist organization Hamas, which has vowed to annihilate the state of Israel and kill Jews. Pro-Hamas graffiti and rhetoric is abhorrent and we must not tolerate it in our nation. It's really funny how they keep lying about that because that's just made up. Saying free Gaza is pro-Hamas terrorists. So what they're saying is, if you oppose the genocide in Gaza, and if you write things like free Gaza, that's unacceptable. That's abhorrent. But allowing a war criminal to sit in Congress and lie to the people that his organizations and lobbyists have paid off and bribed, giving him standing ovations over and over and over again as children are slaughtered, that's moral. That's allyship. I condemn the burning of the American flag. First of all, what happened to I believe in protests? What happened to I believe in free speech? Burning the flag is protected speech under the First Amendment. That's number one. The flag is a symbol of our highest ideals as a nation, and the promise of America should never be desecrated. And also, just like a side note, this isn't that important, but the person who actually burned the American flag was an op, okay? They weren't even one of the pro-Palestinian protesters, but they were an op so that Kamala Harris would come out and put out that statement. And by the way, spare me the our highest ideals as you're defending a genocide. That's what you're doing. You're literally defending a criminal regime that has warrants out for its arrest and just got ruled as an apartheid state by the ICJ and just got ruled as an apartheid state by the International Criminal Court. But you want to talk about highest ideals? What? I support the right to peacefully but do you though? Do you? Because again, I was there. It was a peaceful protest. But now I'm going to do the obligatory conflating speech and the criticism of the Israeli state and regime with anti-Semitism because that's what they always do. So here comes the conflation. Anti-Semitism, hate, and violence of any kind have no place in our nation. Never let them get away with that conflation. To conflate protesting the genocide in Gaza with anti-Semitism. Everything and anything I don't like is anti-Semitism. They do that on purpose because they are trying to control your speech. The beginning and the end of the story. Netanyahu goes there and starts screeching about war with Iran and wanting us to go to war with Iran, just like he did in the early 2000s about weapons of mass destruction, he literally claimed during his ridiculous speech that us protesters, while he was condemning us, were being paid by Iran. Bitch, I literally am already broke and I had to pay to get there. I had to pay to get there. Where's Iran anyhow? Where's my reimbursement? I checked my Venmo, I ain't seen shit. It's so ridiculous, but again, there is a purpose for that. They do that because they are desperate to go to war with Iran, which I've been saying since October 7th. And one last thing, I want to thank Kamala Harris for this statement because it really makes shit clear right out the gate. I think a lot of people are being swept up in the first woman of color running for president and getting all excited and thinking that she was going to be different than Joe Biden. No, she's not. She is exactly like him. She holds the exact same positions. She's taken over $5 million from AIPAC. And you know what? It's kind of a sad state of affairs because as an American, I think that the fact that we have never had a woman as president, we've never had a South Asian woman, a black woman as president, for that to be an option is something that's pretty cool. I would love to vote for the first black woman as president. But unfortunately, she has decided that she does not want my vote, okay? She has decided. Not me. She decided she didn't want my vote. But I thank her because she made it very clear very early. This disgusting, vile smear statement packed with propaganda makes extremely clear exactly where she stands, the fact that she does not want my vote as someone who was protesting there against the genocide, that she has no respect for my First Amendment rights, she has no respect for international law, the ICC, the ICJ, and only cares about political violence and racism when it's in the borders of the United States. Because you clearly don't care about the racism happening to the Palestinians and the dehumanization happening to the Palestinians because you, in this statement, are contributing to the racism and the dehumanization of the people of Gaza. This statement says so much in a short statement, and it tells you exactly everything you need to know about what a Kamala Harris administration will look like. More of the same. It will be more gaslighting, more demonizing protesters who object to genocide and war criminals, more calls for suppression of speech, more smearing of anti-genocide protesters as terrorist sympathizers, and more dehumanization and bigotry against Arabs and Palestinians in Gaza, and the full-scale support, monetarily and politically, of the genocidal regime that is using our tax dollars to carry out genocide as we stand here and pretend to care about freedom and human rights. Many people will be fooled and have already been fooled by the rhetoric and by the glossy photos and ads she's put out. But we know better. Do not be fooled. This is the same administration as the Biden administration and every administration before it. Running cover for a criminal apartheid state and then calling you a bigot if you oppose it. Nah, we're good with all that.